Another exciting episode, and also another topic that we're going to actually take and talk to you guys about tonight. I'm Jimmy Jefferson, and once again, welcome to Buff and Drinks. And I have also with me
Rodney Q. Love.
and
Dennis L. Cotton on the move.
Dennis is a remote tonight and everything else. And then thank you for joining tonight, Dennis, because definitely, we're a team at this, and we want to make sure that we actually bring a lot of related information to everybody. One of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, and the thing that we're going to definitely talk about, is men's health, and especially Black men's health. There is a big issue now going on with how we do things, and everybody saw what happened with the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Austin. And with Mr. Austin is actually facing an issue of prostate cancer.
Right.
And with that, he chose not to tell anyone about it, even the president. That to me was disturbing as hell. You're working for the American people. You were chosen as the Secretary of Defense, and you chose not to tell the president, and you kept it secret because you didn't want it to let anyone know that you were dealing with prostate cancer. I get it. I understand that. But at the same time, you are now the Secretary of Defense. They need to hear you say when someone should be going to war, when somebody shouldn't be going to war, that kind of thing. We need to hear you, bro. And he decided not to do it. So we're going to get into it. We're going to also take calls tonight and everything else. Our telephone number is 313-355-6018. And once again, this is Puff and Drinks, and we want to hear, from our women. We want to hear from our men. We want to hear from everybody about what Black men can do better as far as our health is concerned. So we're going to talk about some statistics and everything else, and then I'm going to let my buddies chime in and the other hosts, and we're going to all, get into this later on.
Exactly. Now, granted, I understand that we're drinking tonight.
But still, okay.
But we're moderately drinking.
We're moderately drinking. There we go. We know the distance.
Yeah, exactly.
We know the distance.
And we moderately, smoke our stuff.
Oh, yeah, we always do.
Right,
we always
right.
do.
Mm-hmm. But, we still do take our health serious.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
When we take a look at our counterparts from years, guys we graduated high school with, they look like they used up 3 and 4 bodies.
Yes.
So,
yeah. And some of them look like they borrowed a body.
So, thankfully, that we've taken the initiative to take the precautions and get the checkups and things like that. Because, again, historically, guys don't do that.
No. Dennis, what about you? How do you take care of your health?
Well, you know what? Common sense. I mean, I was thinking about what the secretary did or what he didn't do. And what makes me think is, why didn't he do it? Was it, pride or that super machoistic, hyper masculinity thing that we all suffer? Is it denial or what? None of that is no excuse. I mean, I'm sorry. The answer, I digressed a little bit. How do I take care of myself? I
agree. Continue on what you were saying, man. We were not. No. But see, Dennis, to piggyback on that too, just a little bit, and then we're gonna come back to you. I think that with Mr. Austin and everything else, the way he did that is culturally how we do things in our culture.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's be realistic. And I don't know about, anybody else besides my own culture, but I know in our culture when something like that happens, and you and I, and in writing, this too, that when, cousin Leroy got sick, no one said shit about it.
Right.
Yeah.
No one.
Well, also, too, keep in mind, it was always a scenario with us as young people. We ain't got the money for this.
Yes.
Walk it off.
Walk it off.
Deal with the pain.
Yep.
And quite frankly, we never would see a doctor or anything like that until it got serious.
Yes.
Hell, dental work. It's like, man, why is half the face hanging off me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, you got abscess, boy.
Yep.
So, things of that nature is prevalent.
Yep, it is. Unfortunately, and then Dennis, I like I said, Mr. Austin, God bless that he's getting, he has the best in healthcare. That's the thing that's amazing to me too.
On the
He
planet.
has the best in healthcare.
Yeah.
He can go to Walter Reed and sit there all day long, and they would throw 20 doctors at him. There was no reason for him not to discuss that with the president of the United States and let him know.
And he didn't have to pay a deductible.
No. Oh, no, there is no deductible. At that level, there's no deductible.
Yeah,
no cost either.
I still got to pay $100 to the minute clinic.
And again,
right.
it costs you what? I think it's $25 now for a copay. And then depending on if you met your deductible,
right.
It's always a cost. He had no worries. There's no worries with him, and he chose not to say anything. So
okay, so
go ahead. I apologize.
So let me catch up here. So I just want to know. I mean, I'm kind of a little blacking on the news here. So is it a fact that he has prostate cancer?
He does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you know what? I mean, it's his fault. I mean, if you get your checkups done on time, it's his fault. I mean, and I don't know if it's a man thing or a black man thing in particular. I mean, we don't want to do the prostate exam because of this, that, and the third. I'm not going to go into specifics, but we all know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you got to get
Evasiveness of it.
Yep.
But I kind of want to share a story about my dad. My father did not know, and no one knew, including him, that he had diabetes. My father was a truck driver. And one particular day, he drove over the road, delivered a load, called mom at home and said, hey, listen, I'm not feeling good. So I'm gonna, you may need to take me to the hospital. I don't know what's going on. He gets home after he puts the truck up, locks the house, locks the warehouse, everything up, gets home, passes out. What happened was he had blood sugar over 1100.
Wow.
Had no clue, none whatsoever. And, naturally when you ask him, hey, what's up? He was like, you know what? I just thought I had a headache. I thought a couple Tylenol would take care of it. It never bothered me before. I might have felt a little bad, but we were conditioned to think, man,
walk it off.
Walk it off.
Walk it off.
Walk it off.
Nothing that castor oil. Castor oil is some hot
or 3 6s.
Oh yeah.
The 3 6s, Father John, all these different home remedies. Some of them, I'm not gonna knock them, but they did work.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. There's nothing like we didn't have no blood pressure cuffs at home.
No, and everything we ate was fried.
Oh my God, fried.
I don't know anything we did eat.
Fried. And everything, if it was not fried, it had salt on it.
Yeah. Even my damn dog had hypertension.
He knew that. He knew that when he moved in.
Right.
He knew that. He was getting what was left over. Hell, he knew.
Right.
I mean, but you see, that to me, and overall for black men, that I think that coming from our culture anyway, we don't talk about our health enough.
No.
Especially black men. I can't speak for the women folk, but I know that women do a different type of conversation with each other about their health. Mm-hmm. But men won't. We just won't do it.
No.
And then unfortunately that, we all have friends, we all have family members, especially, men that died suddenly.
Yeah.
When was he sick? Well, hell, he been sick.
Right.
He don't go to the doctor. He chooses not to go to the doctor for whatever reason. Then you got all these different things that took place, and you find out that his blood pressure was always high.
Yeah.
But he was the first one at the table eating, a half a pound of ham, some souse meat. It wasn't unusual for him to have some saltine crackers.
Yeah, right. Right.
So our diet contributed. But see, the thing is, what we thought was good eating, which we still say it now, still good eating.
Hey, I am not gonna lie. I love me some bacon.
And I love bacon too.
Right.
But I already know I got to hear from my doctor because I have high blood pressure too.
Right.
Okay, it's going to cause this problem. It's going to cause that problem. And I do believe that our culture, because we were not giving proper information, we were never given proper information. So what anybody ever thinks out there, we never were given proper information on how to properly take care of ourselves.
Well, we got it after we were conditioned.
Absolutely.
And it's like, hey,
or better yet, after your ass is in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
And
You know, you get all the information in.
oh yeah, well, did you know you had this? Well, no, but still, it was awfully good getting there.
Yep. Well, they don't ever give you the warning signs.
Right.
You know, yeah, and I would get headaches, and the headaches were to the point where, you know, I would take, and just like your dad would take a couple Tylenol,
Yeah.
I would take Excedrin. I would take the Excedrin and everything else. And then at first, you know, my wife and I, we would talk about it. And then even before that, I would always just say, you know, okay, I'm just having a tension headache.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bad day at work today and everything. It was a tension headache. What I didn't know, my blood pressure was probably at maybe at 175 over 110 at that time.
You didn't take the Anderson.
No. Oh, I didn't take any Anderson. Oh, no. I didn't do Anderson or the BC.
Right.
You know, or stand back. You know, I mean, I was doing all these different things, and then I would do the cold compress. I'd go to sleep, wake up with the headache again.
All right.
And then finally, it got to the point where I think I had gone for about, you know, 3 or 4 days where the headache wouldn't go away. And I get to the doctor, and my blood pressure was down there over 150, you know.
Right.
And it's one of those situations yet again where, you know, I had been conditioned.
Yeah.
You know, if you're having certain things like that, okay, take some medicine, go sit your ass down, that kind of thing.
Go lay down.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about, Rodney, what you said about your dad and my dad. I mean, they came from a generation where they didn't have the internet, they didn't have social media, they didn't have information. So, you know, it's quite logical, you know, to discover that they had an ailment, okay, because they didn't know about it. I mean, there was no way. But for us, them folks, with the internet and social media and common sense, you know, and we surround ourselves with people who are more proactive about their health than previous generations. I mean, you know, we really, in my opinion, we really don't have an excuse. You know,
I hear you.
Yeah.
But we unfortunately come from a scenario where if it ain't hurting, ain't nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's think about it. Some people even could have the best dental insurance, but won't go see a dentist until something is hurt.
Yep.
well, that's their fault.
Well, no, I'm not minimizing that. I'm saying, you know what I'm
I
saying
agree,
is
Dennis.
that-
It is their fault,
Right,
but you
right.
also have to keep in mind too that for whatever reason, and I used to hear my grandparents talk about this and everything else, is that black people didn't want to go see doctors.
Right.
Because the doctors would placate or pacify them and then send them on their way. And then I used to hear this, and then I'm hoping that we'll get some callers in tonight and everything else, that whatever you do, if you see a black doctor, send me to a white doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all know that. You know,
Don't let them black doctors kill you.
oh my God.
Man,
They had already been, and the sad thing is, it's not that they were fresh to the country. These were people born and raised in this
Right.
country.
Right.
And these doctors were trained and they knew their stuff, the whole 9 yards, but we were all told. Hell, I even remember this as a little boy hearing, don't take him over there to that doctor. You know, that Negro doctor. No.
Take him over to Mount Sinai.
No.
He'll never get out of
Oh
there.
no. You know, that's where he go to die.
Right.
But
You
you
know,
know
that
what? You know what? I remember having a black doctor, and what I remember about him is that he treated me like I was his homeboy, not his patient. So, I mean, I don't know who was right or who was wrong in this interaction, but I will say, you know what? I don't want to broad brush. I don't want to generalize. And like I said, I only had one doctor in my lifetime, and like I said, he treated me like I was his homeboy instead of a patient. So, I don't know. Be that as it may. But you know, the white doctors that I had, I didn't necessarily agree with what they said, but they did treat me as I was the patient instead of a homeboy. And you know, I mean, you know what? And it's just like when we go to the clothing store It's just like when we go to McDonald's to get a cheeseburger. You know, there's a big difference between a white white person at the counter and a black person. Well, you know what? No, I'm gonna stick with what I'm saying. It's just the manner of
Oh my
professionalism.
God, it is. But it is a level of professionalism. Gentlemen, hold on 1 second. You're watching Puff and Drinks live, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like us, follow, share, comment, and subscribe, and all above. Love us. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world.
Touche.
Guys, I want to read some statistics, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this was published by Pfizer. Pfizer published, and keep in mind, this is something that blew me away when I was researching our topic for tonight. High blood pressure is common in 12% versus 10% of blacks versus whites, age 18 to 34 years old.
Okay.
All right. It is common in 33% versus 22% of those aged 35 to 49 years, respectively. This is the one that got me. Diabetes is common in 10% of the blacks aged 35 to 49 compared to 6% of whites. Now, you know, and then you got the one that's even crazier. Stroke is present in 0.7% of blacks aged 18 to 34 compared to 0.4% of whites the same age. Stroke is common in 2% of African Americans compared to 1% of whites aged 35 to 49 and 7% versus 4% respectively in those aged 50 to 64.
All right.
See, the thing I find so amazing about these particular statistics, and then you guys can definitely, I want to hear you guys talk about this too, but we are the lesser of the people in the country, but we have the greater amount of all the health issues.
Right.
You know, that to me, I think is amazing. We're 13% of the country, but we're actually the most when it comes down to all of the greater health issues.
Well,
that to me makes no sense.
Well,
Those statistics, as you were reading them, the disparities didn't seem that bad, in my opinion. So the question is, well, why is that? I mean, we all have access to health care. It may not be the best health care depending upon your economic condition, but we do have access to health care. We do. You know what? The one thing that some elements of the population may not have is the ability to obtain healthy foods. Okay. I mean, you know, there are some areas where you live in a food desert. Granted, I get that, but overall, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you could be the poorest of the poor, but don't you still have access to basic health care if you want it and go after it? You gotta be an advocate for yourself. What do you think?
Okay, well, I agree. But again, you know, conditioning. I mean,
Speak on it.
Mental conditioning is a MF.
Yes, it is.
You know, I mean, hey, we all grew up in that scenario where it was taboo to have a mental illness.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't get quite. What does MF mean, sir?
Oh, you know what it means.
Yeah.
You know. Miggity flippity.
I mean, let's think about it. The brothers who came home from Nam, there was never a support system for those brothers.
No.
The first thing everyone would say, stay away from Leroy, because Leroy, he got that Agent Orange, and I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him.
Yep.
You know? and
everything was blamed on the Agent Orange.
Exactly.
Yep. Whether or not this man had been through PTSD, they didn't give a damn. Whether or not he had been through any of that, he didn't get any psychological help.
Nothing.
He was cut back into the wild again, and you wonder why this man was sitting over in a corner, drinking a fifth, shooting up all
heroin,
and the heroin, all these different things. He was doing everything to quiet that noise in his head.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and again, you know. Yes, it's 2024. We got a situation where we do have health care.
Right.
There, you can get health care. But let's cut to the chase. if you are making less than, we'll say, $35,000 a year, you're probably working anywhere between 40 to 50 hours a week trying to take and make a living, whether it's you doing an Uber or whatever the hell you're doing, but you really do not have adequate enough time to get to the doctor's office.
Right. If you are working those 40 hours.
There you go.
You already know if it is low skilled, you get hours wherever you can get them.
Yep. Wherever you can find them.
Right. So now, a good percentage of the time, unless something happens, emergency room.
Yep. And how many times have we seen that too, where that is our doctor's office?
That is the doctor's office, right?
It's the emergency room.
Right.
Companies are now pushing people to go to urgent care. Go to urgent care. Go to urgent care.
You still wait,
Oh yeah, you still wait, but it won't cost the company as much.
Right.
But we don't know urgent care. We know emergency room.
Emergency room.
Everybody and their brother, and Dennis, this too, that we grew up in in the world, especially coming up. But all three of us are from Detroit.
Right.
We didn't know that people went regularly to the doctor. Let's be realistic. We didn't. And then it's just recently that we know now that you should have regular visits.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
When's the last time and I think now, because we're three professionals and everything else, that we out there in the world, our white counterparts, they've always talked about going to have the physical.
Yeah.
No matter what, they go and have their physical, and I gotta get ready for my physical.
Yeah.
And we hear that shit all the time. All right.
And we talking about what we doing Friday night when we get off work.
Right.
Exactly.
And you see them eating carrot sticks for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, man, no way in hell I'm eating.
No, or we eat the leftover fried chicken and pork chops.
Oh yes.
I mean, that's how that works. I mean, everybody knows a good cold pork chop is delicious.
Oh yes.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, especially if it's seasoned properly. So I mean, that's what we deal with. And yes, even though time has changed, but our attitudes on how we conduct our health, it hasn't. It really hasn't.
Well, also, I think, in my opinion, some of us have greater stressors.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a time, when I would train for a fight, didn't eat anything, with cholesterol, salt, and whatnot, but the stress. And it was still spiking.
All right. Well, let's go back to Secretary Austin for a moment.
Okay.
Secretary of Defense. At one point, he was a 4-star general, graduated from Harvard, Howard, whatever.
Yep.
Obviously, he would be the pinnacle of Black intelligence.
He is.
Right.
This would be a man. I'm not one of those guys who I need a role model or a mentor. But next to Barack Obama, I would say Secretary Austin would be somebody who I would, definitely want to meet, get a handshake, and maybe have a cup of coffee with. But the question I would like to know is, why did it appears he didn't do his physicals. It appears he was not proactive on his health, because if he was, I would think he would be in a much better situation than he is in now. My question is, assuming that he neglected to do certain things, is why? Why would a Black man with the pinnacle of intelligence that he has, supposedly, not do the basic common things of going to get your physicals?
Well, now, I have to counter on that, because we just recently lost a serious soldier with Joe Madison.
Yes.
Joe Madison died of the same thing.
Prostate cancer.
And Joe diligently went and got his treatments. He would cancel a show to go get his treatments. And, again, we're not privy to what, the general was doing. I mean, we don't know if he went and got certain treatments or been diagnosed or pretty much gave up. It's like, hey, I know I'm on this track, so what have you. But I can tell you, Joe Madison religiously preached that.
I think, with General Austin also, General Austin is a military man. And the military, you're trained, and he's career military.
Right.
By him being career military, he was trained at an early age when he entered into the military. You fight through it all.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and his family probably knew of his situation. I'm almost certain that his wife knew. He's
Oh,
married.
yeah.
He's married, and I think he has a couple of kids and everything else, you know, that kind of thing. But they knew of his situation and everything else, and he probably decided. And then once again, and do understand this is all speculation. He probably decided, okay, I'm just going to take and work through this, go through whatever treatment I can and everything else. But when he entered into that hospital, he should have informed the president. That is,
Absolutely.
there's,
Absolutely.
Oh,
and
for
now
sure.
when he was by himself as just General Austin, then okay, no one gave a damn. But now you're the Secretary General of the country. You have to take and inform the president because he's depending upon you to make sound military judgment.
Yeah.
You're his leading strategist.
Exactly.
He should have said something.
Well, I mean, hey, we have to inform our bosses when we got to take a sick day,
It's no difference.
right?
You know, you're the number one in charge. There was no one else, even though there is supposedly someone that's supposedly fall in. He didn't even let his number two know what the situation was.
Yeah, and I see something is missing.
Yeah, and I know that earlier this week he was, he had to do the testifying before Congress and everything
Right.
else. But again, you put yourself in a bad situation too. I want to defend him, but I can't really defend him because I think that he really should have done the right thing by he did. He apologized.
Yeah.
But shit is a dollar late and dollar short and day late. Come on now.
I don't know a situation.
Neither.
Right.
So
I mean, I'm sure there was a reason. It may have been rational. It may not have been. I don't know.
Pride,
could
arrogance.
have been. Could have been.
Exactly.
Hey,
Could have been.
Could have been
I
pride.
mean-
I mean, well, and let's look at something like that. When you have that position where you are controlling, you're in charge of hordes of individuals.
Mm,
You don't want to
Speak on
seem
it.
weak.
no. And see, I know we're getting off the subject of men's health, but let's also look at it too. And we're using General Austin as an example, but he's a black man.
Right.
He's a black
Mhm.
man, and that he's in a situation where scrutiny would not have come to his white counterparts as much as it would have come to him. He had to take and probably keep that a secret because it is a sign of weakness.
Right.
He's not supposed to get sick. How dare you get sick? Did we give you permission to get sick? Now
We knew you couldn't handle this position
exactly,
anyway. Right,
exactly,
right.
because now the man is, I think he's 6'3" or 6'4". He's every bit of 235, 240 pounds. He's a big man. He cannot give the position of
The perception
okay,
of being human.
no, he's not. Well, see, there we go.
Right.
And see, once again, that's that situation as black men where we're seen as these big brutes and we're the pinnacle of strength, John Henry types.
Right.
Give me the hammer. Hell, even everybody knows the story of John Henry. John Henry died, literally killed himself building a goddamn railroad.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, come on. His heart gave out. John Henry was the man. Okay, John Henry killed himself putting the railroad in, folks.
But also keep in mind too, prior to this, less than a year ago, he had that Senate hearing with that cocksucker Matt Gaetz,
Yep.
who was trying to belittle him.
Yes.
And that's the last prick you want to seem weak in front of.
And
That
again,
little squirrel piece of shit.
now would Gates have done that if that had been a Republican
Of course
general? No, he would not have done that. They
Of
would
course
not even challenged him.
Right.
There were issues and situations when Trump was in office that and I know once again, guys, we're getting off of the beat, but we got to also keep in mind that the rules of engagement are different for us. No matter what,
Drastically different.
they're always going to be
Right.
different. So guys, you're watching Puff and Drinks live, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like us, love us, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And once again, folks, we would like to hear your comments on this tonight. We're talking about Black men's health. What we can do better, what we should be doing better to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Yes, we got into a little, back and forth about General Austin, but General Austin is someone that we admire. We do. We actually admire him, and we're disappointed. So give us a call, 313-355-6018. And if you have a comment, definitely let's hear what you have to say about it. We want to hear from some men. We want to hear from some women too about what we can do better as Black men to take care of ourselves.
Now,
Well, you know what? I think, what did you say a few moments ago about, oh my gosh, about being a different perspective from the Black men? And no, you know what? Scratch that. Let me put it this way. I don't admire General Austin because he should have known to do the right thing.
Okay.
Period.
You have that right.
Period.
I actually admire the man because he's going through a level of scrutiny that you and I will never know. We will never know.
But it was self-imposed.
Well, true that. It was self-imposed. He could have done better, but let's be realistic. He could not give the air of weakness. There is no way around that.
Well, let me put it this way, and this is something that we can all agree with. If you really want Black men's health, if you really want a Black man to pay attention to something, make his dick inoperable. If something's wrong with it, you will get that son of a bitch checked out in a heartbeat. Come on, man. Let's be honest.
Okay. You're right. You're right.
I mean, you might not be. You could be blind in one eye.
Yep.
And cross-eyed in the other. But if your door
both legs broken.
You'll be like, oh.
Yep. I'm on my way to the doctor.
What's wrong with you?
I gotta get it fixed. And see, okay. That's a whole part of our mental health too, because we don't do anything until, unfortunately,
it's an emergency.
Having ED issues.
Yeah.
Erectile dysfunction. And when Mr. Austin or General Austin probably had an issue when he started having issues where he couldn't perform or things were not, he could no longer salute. And hold on. And let's go a little step further. When Black men know they can't piss the way they used to. Okay, I'm just being honest, folks. I'm not trying to be vulgar, but I'm just trying to, keep it as real as I can. When we can't get our shit up or we're having issues peeing, then now we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, when you can't sink the Cheerios, it's like you take a leak and that shit shoot all the way to the side.
There's a problem.
I didn't do that.
Or it took you 15 minutes.
Yeah. You fall asleep.
Exactly. And see, these are the things that as Black men that we need to be mindful of too, because yes, you might be having some issues with that, but that should not be the driving force for you to go and have a physical. We should be getting physicals.
Exactly.
Dennis, you spoke of it and everything else, that was his fault. We don't know if this man even had yearly physicals. He could have chose not to. Or if he did have a yearly physical, he probably got a green bill. He got a clean bill of health.
Yeah, depending on the test.
It could have been on the test. And then
you know what? I agree. So I tell you what. I think we beat up Secretary Austin enough.
Okay.
Let's get to the heart of the issue: Black men's health. What do we need to tell Black men? You know what? What do we need to tell men? Period. Because most of the diseases and or situations, if you own your game, if you're on point, are preventable if you get your ass to the doctor.
I agree.
On time and take your physical. Look, I'm gonna put it out there. I was recently diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. Now I was a little dismayed, disheartened, but fortunately I looked at the scale, the numbers that I fall in, my kidneys are still working. They may not be working at 100% efficiency, but they're working at 85%. So I can live with that. But the bottom line is, if I had not gotten my physical on time,
period.
Right.
Huh?
Or going period.
Right.
or gone, period, my
Mhm.
situation would have gotten a lot worse. Now I haven't seen my doctor. Yeah, I'm going to see him in 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. But I am quite positive that okay, I may have to take some medication. Other than that, I'm still 6 miles away from dialysis.
Okay.
Okay, I still got 2 functioning kidneys. Okay, they may not be at 100% efficiency, but they work well enough. And the thing is, I wouldn't have known if I had not went and gotten my physical
Right.
See.
and studied the results.
Well, see, you are making sense.
Yes.
Okay?
Mhm.
You are making
Make it make
perfect-
sense.
Exactly.
Make it make sense.
But
All right?
now let's look at nonsensical situation.
Mhm.
Now, is
You
that a
know,
word?
Nonsensical.
Sensible. It sounds good, but is that I'm about to hey Siri, definition of sensical.
It's
I mean,
bigly. It's part of
exactly.
bigly. It's like bigly.
You know, but again, when did you come to that conclusion? You came to that conclusion the more mature we were. You know,
Yeah.
I can admit, when I was 26, I could eat a block of clay and wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just in retrospect, you know, some things need to be well thought out, and that brain don't develop with a few of us for a minute.
Oh yeah. But see that also flows across all nationalities,
Right.
all
Right.
cultures. Because I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it was nothing uncommon for me, under the age of 25 to, right before I went to bed, I would take and lick a salt lick,
Yeah.
and then swizzle down a 6-pack, and I'm good. I'm good.
And eat a half a box of White Castles and the Conies in a.
And then try to figure out why am I still hungry.
Yeah, man.
I don't understand that. I mean,
Right.
but
Well-
now, I'm in my few reviews, and now there are some issues where the shit that I used to do, you can't do anymore.
Can't do it, right?
And I agree with you 100% that maturity has a lot to do with it too.
Oh yeah.
And then,
You know what?
and let me be very clear. Roddy didn't say anything that had to do with your level of education. It doesn't have anything to do with your age. It is a matter of you becoming a more mature person and wanting to take care of yourself.
Right.
But you know what? You cannot separate. With age comes maturity.
Absolutely.
Now all that stuff that you guys did when you were younger. I didn't do well. Okay, I did too. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You remember we was drinking at one time?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you know what? With age comes maturity, but then you still got men our age who are still not handling their business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And see, I think it's important, and I can't stress this enough, and as far as men's health, and especially in our culture too. Don't wait till something happens. Go to the doctor.
Right.
It doesn't cost. Most insurances actually pay and do understand this, people. 100, and let me look in the camera. 100% of your physical is paid by your insurance.
Right.
You do not have to pay for that. In most cases, you don't even have to pay for your office visit. You don't have to pay for your deductible. It is 100% paid. There are now a lot of different insurance companies that are really doing their due diligence to take and make sure people are healthy.
Right.
But what if you don't have insurance?
Well,
What if you're working? What if you're working at
medical
Wendy's?
bills on your credit report?
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, that's been a fact. So that you don't have to worry about, okay, if I go and I got this bill, it's going to be my credit. No, it's not going to be on your credit report. Right. They're not allowed to put that on your credit report anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there, and I agree with you, Dennis, on this and everything else, that there really is no excuse.
Right.
There really isn't.
Okay, hold on, but I don't know if you guys heard me. What about people who don't have health insurance that work at McDonald's and the fast food industry, and they don't have health insurance because it's not being offered or they can't afford it?
All right.
Well, you can sign up for the affordable health care.
Yep. And everybody who hears Obamacare, it is healthcare.gov.
Right.
Once again, that is healthcare.gov. If you do not have any insurance and you work at McDonald's or you work at, one of these particular Uber gigs and you don't have, or you're a contractor or whatever, you can get healthcare, and it really, in most cases, you won't even have to pay for it.
Exactly.
You can get healthcare, so it is healthcare.gov. So you can't make an excuse.
Right.
They had 20 million people last year sign up for healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So
even the GOP boys that say,
absolutely,
I'll never do that.
And see, let's be realistic. A healthy country also takes and away from a lot of issues where we can't produce certain things, or we can't take and defend our country. But if you have a healthy country where people are really taking care of themselves and going to the doctor and eating better, I'm not saying you got to eat right all the time, because we all slip.
Oh, yeah.
But you can still find better ways to eat.
Right.
So, but once again, it's healthcare.gov. Or for those who don't know, it's Obamacare.
Yeah.
So, if you're scared about it, it's Obamacare.
Oh, yeah.
But it's healthcare.gov. And they, like I said, they had 20 million people last year sign up for it.
Exactly. Even the skeptics, that would sit there, I'd rather die than use it. And they're the ones who...
they were the first ones signed up.
They're the first ones. They had on their dark sunglasses and their hoods, but they went in.
That's where we need to take, and, as men, period, and then people, period, overall, you need to be pushing that. You can go and get health care, and I remember hearing this elderly white woman at the post office fussing and mussing about Obamacare. It's gonna cost the government. Okay, but she's like, people can't afford that. They actually have it where it's based upon how much you make.
Exactly.
So if you are not making any money, of course, you're at one of those particular Uber type gigs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Your insurance is only $5 a month.
Right. You get something.
Which is better than a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
So you can now get your teeth straightened out. You can get, you don't have to take and go through an issue where, I'm having this pain in my back, and Lord knows it's a goddamn cyst that's growing out of control.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing. So you can do it. And I agree with you, Dennis. There is no reason why we should not be doing these things.
No excuse whatsoever.
You
know what? I take that back. Maybe, could it be that social media? Well, you know what? We know it because we're intelligent. We're socially savvy. We watch the news, we watch our health, but there's a whole segment of the population that they follow social media. And social media is not an advocate for doing the right thing. Social media is straight up about the entertainment.
Well, even prior to social media, people still thought, especially older women, I can just take my herbs and that'll get rid of diabetes. Elderberry,
elderberry.
Exactly.
Meyer lemons.
See,
Meyer lemons.
I just put a cake right here and let the wind blow on it,
I used
and
to
get
hear,
the demon off me.
Yeah, I used to hear. I love my aunt and everything else, and she's hard headed as hell. She would do shit where, once a year we always have to make our trek to the hospital because she decided not to take in her medicine, or she was going to take and depend upon Meyer lemons. Meyer lemons are oranges. That's all that they are. But they call them Meyer lemons. And she had been reading and hearing all this other holistic bullshit that told her that, okay, if I take these Meyer lemons, my diabetes would be under control.
Hey, man, I had an aunt. She thought if she put some holy oil on her oxygen tube, she could smoke and take oxygen at the same time.
That worked out well.
Yeah,
that worked out well.
Yeah.
All right. You're watching Puff and Drinks live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like us, love us, follow us, share, comment, and subscribe. And once again, thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And folks, we have approximately, I believe, 2 minutes to go. But we want to actually just, and I can't stress it enough, and then we're all going to do it too. Please don't take your health for granted. Go to the doctor, spend some time, ask questions. Don't let the doctor just say whatever. Ask questions. If he's telling you that you got a growth out the side of your neck, ask him where the hell it came from.
Yeah.
You know, you need to do these things.
Yeah.
Don't rub some basil on it thinking that shit gonna go away.
No,
Right.
no, you know, and some of the old school things that people did for their health and everything else, yes, some of them still apply, but let's be realistic. It's 2024. There's a ton of different things out there now that your doctor can take and make sure that you're living the best life that you choose to.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, I think it's important that overall, you know, as black men, as people, period, that if you're asking questions of your doctor, you're going on a regular basis. Let us be realistic about that. Let's go on a regular basis. You pay for it. It's there. It comes out. It's no difference. Use it or lose it. Because the worst thing you can do is say I had insurance and I never used it.
Right.
And please don't wait until it's too late.
No, please don't do that.
As I was sitting here, I was thinking about some lady. She had COVID, and she was not an advocate for the vaccines. Okay, she gets real sick and she's dying, and she asked the nurse, "Well, can I still get the vaccine?" Too late.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late.
Too
And
late.
again, it's our time is up and everything else, but we want to take and thank everybody for joining our show tonight. Please continue the conversation online. We're on Facebook. We're also on YouTube. If you have any other comments, and then once again, healthcare.gov. If you don't have insurance, you can't afford it. Healthcare.gov. No excuses anymore, folks. Once
None.
again, thank you for joining Puff and Drinks. I'm Jimmy Jefferson.
Rodney Q Love.
Dennis Cotton.
Y'all have a good night, and thank y'all. Cheers.
Cheers.